So let's work on. I think we're gonna work on giving the items to the knight in the room like last time. So enjoy the music in the background. You know, make it a little less boring for you guys. Anybody in the comments, chat section, just say hey, what's up? And if you want to participate, just ask questions, discuss, present ideas, whatever you want. So this is kind of a community thing, you know. Work together, make a game, get ideas. So welcome to the channel. Yeah, nice little knight here from last time, and he's kind of just jamming out. See, dance to the dubstep, but he's not doing anything. So let's at least give him an item to do something with. All right. Anybody that shows up in chat, just say hey, what's up. Alright, last time what I did with Unity is I had it so when the player went over to this section here, it would scroll the screen over so you could completely see what's going on over here. Ran into a couple issues. Player didn't actually know that they could go this way. No cues. And yeah, thanks to Rain Shadow for pointing that out during her stream. The other thing is you lose sight of the chest. So I could do it with an invisible collider right there, or I could, you know, maybe use the built-in follow here. It's a good question. And if you just popped in the chat, don't hesitate to say hi. There it is. Now I can walk out here on the battlefield. This is okay. There's more we could probably do with it, but we can polish this up later. So, if the limit is right here, where the player can go, what we want to do is give it to the knights. So math right here for a minute. I want to calculate something. 1.6, which is 16 by 10. Huh. Yeah, we originally were doing a 16 to 10 ratio, and I like how that appeared on the screen, but I might change the aspect ratio too. But we already have all the items made for that aspect ratio. So yeah, I'm not going to screw with that. Huh. See actually how that looks. Yeah, that looks kind of better. Walk across your face, man. Okay, and that does point out an important thing to me. Placement on the list. These didn't really matter. There. Okay. So we want to give this item to that dude. As I currently have it. Collide with an object. Add it to the inventory slot. If I let them walk all the way out there, I could give it to the player. Just use collider driven stuff. Yeah, why not? Player's got nothing right now. So I should actually make an empty player object. At the night, and yeah, there it goes. All right, there it is.
Take me away from home.
Hey, what's up, Josh? I didn't see you over there. How's the sound level? Can you hear me pretty clearly over the music in the background? Can you hear the music pretty well?
I will chase the night. erase all of these broken dreams in flight, and we'll fly. Oh, we'll fly away, away, away. Yeah, we'll fly.
Alright, I'll see if I can lower it. I think I'm gonna have to do it through. How's that? Was that a good enough lower right there on the sound? This is kind of a habit from the schoolhouse. Awesome. Good. Alright, so just kind of bring you up to what I was thinking. If you got any thoughts, Josh, just throw them out there. Really helps. I'm going to try to get the, of course, handing off that item like we were trying to do before that we did over at the gate here, if you remember. But I have it so you can actually walk out of the gate. In fact, I'll show you right now. Grab that stuff right there. Walk them right out the gate. I'm thinking maybe hand it off with a collision. I just got to be careful because every frame that I'm colliding with them, it's going to try to run that code for collision. So I also did this nifty little discard thing, just in case we want to get rid of the item we have in there. Go up here, grab another item. Oh, climb back up. Yeah, I need to fix that collider right there. Discard, grab it. So I'm just going to do it based on a collision. Just kind of get distracting myself to create right there. For some of the things, Game Maker Studio is a bit easier to use than Unity, especially considering, it's a 2D game anyway, and Unity is 3D even when working in a 2D environment, so you still have to deal with the Z-axis. I like how Unity does handle collisions where you have the on-enter, on-exit, and the trigger versus collision interactions for code, for the event code. But this makes it pretty easy for collisions. This is basically a combination of all the Unity's collision codes: on enter, on collision, and on exit. So the reason why I have a thing right here for player character object for collision is so I can do parenting, which I don't know if you're familiar with parenting, Josh, but what it does is, like, over here at the weapon, all I have here is, like, for now, any, a weapon object is going to be, okay, we start out really small and it grows big, which is why you saw it kind of blow up like that on the screen. And then for the energy glove, which is that first one that Tay drew up for us, I made it a child of weapon. So that way, any code over here that I'm doing with weapon, or the good old player thing here, anytime I collide with a weapon, oop, my bad. So anytime I collide with a weapon here, regardless of the weapon, it's going to act like I collided with that weapon and just put it in my inventory. So it does make it a little nicer that way. So I'm doing the same thing with a player character, which is the knight. Fix my hierarchy right here. So the knight is a player character, but if we ever had like a wizard or something like that thrown in there, or some other character, that I can make another character out of, I just make him child too. And then we can only distinguish the code by, which one it is. But for now, for all intents and purposes, I could do it just straight up knight right here with the collision. But for future, just putting it in place right there. So basically what we're going to do here, collide with the knight, it's going to... Well, we want to... Okay, first, check if the player even has an item. Yeah, it's one of those things, because you're going to run into that area. So, if... And I created a variable called inventory here, which is just an array. This is one of the nice... a two-edged sword about GML, which does like the untyped variables like JavaScript does. I can make this so I don't even have to say whether it's an integer or anything, but the downside to that is, oh, I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll learn someday, But I want to make sure that the inventory right now is slot 0 because we only have one slot. How did I do it before? For weapon inventory. What do they got built in here? I'm actually gonna pull up the trusty dusty right here. Structures. Joy. And arrays. Kind of is just a list. DS lists. Okay. Hold on, I will be right back. thanks for holding waiting around for me. All right. So one thing I had to remember is that in Unity, which is using C# and JavaScript actually as the languages, that when I'm doing this dot afterwards, it's an accessor for the different public members and public data members, public functions on that actual object, which is a mistake I was making. So data structure, DS, now I can start running their built-in functions. List, clear, add. Here it is. Actually, I'm not going to waste the extra typing space. That should do it. Jam it out. Just so I can check to make sure it is. So Josh, does this give you any ideas for anything you're working on? Yeah, that is helpful. It'll give you time to look into it. I've actually found this easier for me sometimes when I'm actually in it, working on something and trying to figure out how to do that particular thing, and then do that targeted reading of the documentation. Otherwise, it's just like opening a giant book, and it's so boring. Alright. I'm actually going to do these two test cases right now, because I have that discard ability with the player. I can test to see which messages are popping up. Boom. Okay. We got errors. Really? Oh, I'm an idiot. Alright. One of the things you gotta watch out for, typos. Yeah, I mean, especially considering you're using, what, FStudio for that, right? In Unity? Which, the program itself, I haven't gotten into the actual FStudio program, but your implementation on it and the Unity code for our project was pretty good. And I've been kind of pulling the assets out. In fact, this sound over here on the right side, background one loop and background ambient drum, those are from some of the files that you have in the assets folder from our project for the game jam. And I've kind of sound mixed them together to see how they listen to it in here. And we can actually do some implementation while you're on here to kind of see how things go. This should probably be thrown on a background object, like an empty game object that sits there in the middle of the screen just playing and you don't see anything. You just hear it. In fact, let's check it out. Yeah, like we want it looping. And okay, crap. Oh jeez. Yeah, sound in here in Unity, we did what? Just drag and drop it in there, or with I don't know how FStudio's implementation for Unity worked, because you were working on that for us, Josh. But in here, it's basically you create a sound object. You select the file for the sound. You can kind of mix it up here. Go into the sound mixer. We can add in. Oh, throw that down. Ah, lovely. So open up the sound mixer and we can kind of see how things sound together. Because I put this group together for a moment. I haven't implemented sound yet though. That's going to be like something we want. It would be awesome if we could deal with you in here sometimes. It's kind of like, oh yeah, put it over here. But it looks like in here this works a lot simpler than Fmod or FStudio. So. So yeah, why not? Let's make that background music player then. Don't need any of that stuff. Literally the asynchronous audio playback, I think. Maybe? Let's check it out. Yeah, here's the thing, you actually kind of have to code it in here anyway, so yeah, I don't think FStudio or Fmod Studio has a Game Maker Studio implementation, but if you at least can make the sound files in there. So yeah, you'd have a pretty easy time then kind of transferring it over to the GML. You just take the concept and translate it in the language, because like right now, I would have to look at documentation to see, let's see, audio. Yeah, looking at the audio ones here. Yeah, play, pause. Yeah, so. Oh, cool. What does it allow me to do with this? For now, nothing. Huh. Alright. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's something to implement later once I learn a little bit more on it. So. Yeah. Google and YouTube definitely help. Recent group. Get track. No. Why not? Let's see. Right? Nope. That's the other thing we can pay attention on this is colors. In the settings, having different colors for different things. So, like, shows up purple for something like this, which is like a global variable. Then you know you didn't type it correctly. Yeah, even over here on oh, I just completely got distracted, and that's my bad. We're about to get some cacophony. Oh no, wait, I didn't put the object in there. Cool. Yeah, I got distracted a little bit because so much fun doing this. But let's test out my typo correction for the other thing. And I still have an error on this. Why? What? That's because... Oh, incorrect type. That's why. Okay. That's all cool. Nope. Player. DS list. Because it's not a list. Uh, yeah, I know what a list is. What do we got? What do we got? Nope, nope, nope. What do we got? I could probably use that. Eh. Trusty Dusty right here. Or I might just have changed to a list, you know?
Leave the app, not your music. Listen anywhere, anytime. Listen to it all ad-free. All your music, no interruptions. YouTube Red. Start your free trial.
Heck, might as well turn it into a list. I was using array lists in our Unity project anyway on this. Let's clean that one up a little bit. Alright. Let's create a list called inventory. Comment that out for a minute. And comment that out. Inventory dot. Keep trying to do the accessor method here. So we're gonna have to do it as ds list add inventory. What am I adding? Other object index. Yeah, why not? That should work. And that should work actually. Oh, nice. Oh. Alright, this is gonna throw me off a little bit. If I have to do it this way, that's that's like inventory equals new something something. What? So yeah, it's kind of getting used to it. I'm used to C programming and Java. So JavaScript-like languages, I'm still working on that. See? And it's that index over here. Right there. Double check that. Okay, good. That is the one I want there. And check for value. And give me the value, but okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to use this, which is kind of a long roundabout way. So you're actually gonna have an easier job then, Josh, with your JS experience to switch over to GML, because you already have that kind of prototyping untyped variable language stuff. You might actually have an easier time than I do on this one. That's fun. Now this get name of ds list find value on the inventory. This gets really long. There. 1, 2. I need a third parentheses. There. Okay. So what this long mother. And this is just a check to make sure I'm grabbing the right thing. What I just did here was the debug message, instead of being able to directly access the inventory slot 0 as an array, because it's a list now, I'm firing up this ds list find value, which should work now. And I have to tell it in the inventory list index 0. So boom. Oh, what's that? So object open has been registered. Cool. All right, so it did grab it correctly. That's sweet. Let's see what happens now. Inventory is not empty. Really? That's good. Oh, I forgot something. My discard code. I was over here. That discard thing you saw where I just toss it to the side. Oh, cool. Yeah, I actually had to make up my own little. That's what it is. That's a shitty code though for this. List empty. Inventory. And we want it to be not empty. Because if it's not empty, then we discard what's in there. If it is empty, ds list remove, replace something. It's not like a stack where you can just do push pop, at least in C programming. Add clear could clear the whole thing usually. Delete, there it is. So for now, I'll just do it explicitly. And let's go over here. I'm kind of liking these lists, really. The list's kind of nice. Delete. Where in the list to delete value? Remove value, sort specific vision. Checks the top value. But the question is, when you delete a value, does it shrink the size, you know? So who knows? I'll know if it allows me to pick up again. Alright, let's look at this. See, it didn't. Index variable is not an array. Line 66 of collision with object. Or what? That's definitely line 66 of the code. Step code. Line 66. Right here. What did I do? Oh, yeah. Derp. I'm trying to instance something. The value that I'm storing in the array is the object index. So I want to get the value. ds list find value. And of course, there. This code's getting kind of long now, and unfortunately, the way that, from what I can tell, Game Maker Studio does it, unlike C-based programming, which is semicolon that ends a line. So if you go 5, 10, 15, 20, however many lines you want to go without a semicolon, it treats it as a single line of code, just for readability purposes. This one actually makes you I was doing single line code, so I was like, fuck it, you know. This one makes you actually potentially ends the line from what they said, even without a semicolon. I just use semicolon definitively on the line. This is awesome, though. Boom. Alright, we got the glove. Discard the glove. Got the glove. Discard the glove. Good. So we just switched it over to the list, which is nice. Now we're going to see if the array goes boom. Nope. Boom. Okay. Now let's see what happens. If it is empty. Oh, it's empty, so we can't hand him anything off. So, long and short of what we just did, other than convert the array code over to a list, which allows me to access the functionality of lists in Game Maker Studio. Now we got the main code that we want, which is over here. We want to give stuff to the player character, or stuff to the knight, the non-player character that's helping me out. So now we know that happens. If your inventory is not empty, you want to give them the item in your inventory, right? So I'm doing this with other because this is from the player's perspective. That's something you want to pay attention to, Josh. When you're dealing with collisions, rather than doing like the collider dot game object with Unity, which references whatever this object collided with, which colliders what's being passed into the method. Here, we can easily just, on any of these collision code things, use the with the function. And it's basically saying with what? You don't even have to do it with colliders. Heck, you can do it in anything. It'd be like, okay, with the score, I'm just going to increase it by 1. So you kind of have this reference, which is really cool, to whatever you can practically think of with this with function. It's kind of cool. But what we're going to do with the object we just collided with the knight, for now, I'll just call it the knight. Knight! Just jamming out to the music, sorry. Well, from what I can, I don't know what you mean. Like, what do you mean by see what kind of implementation is working with GM? Yeah, that would probably be a good idea to check. I'm not familiar with WIs, but I didn't see, when I checked on it when we were working on that project, I didn't see Fmod with any plugins like they did for Unity. So, what you might be doing is just use the GML code to make all the audio code work in there, and kind of logically just switch over the language. You know, it's like translating between French and German or something. Just figure out the idea behind it and translate the idea. Alright, object. The way I have it currently, the knight, I didn't want to child the positioning though. Yeah, I didn't want to try to child it to the weapon, to the knight, like I could do in the hierarchy over in Unity, where it would just, you know, take the position and everything. So, this is a hard one. I would basically have to make some kind of reference in the knight to whatever weapon they have. That's a good one. Yeah, I could create a variable that makes a reference. Yeah, why not? So let's create a variable called current weapon, which is kind of what I did with the last one. And on creation, they're going to start empty-handed, thankfully, so we can just do that. I'm going to make a list called inventory. So other object index, index. So it's not going to work there, and it'll work down here. So, nope. Here. Okay. Let's see what code there is for getting the index. Asset get index would probably make sense. And the name of it is... Oop. Oh jeez, this is so fun. I think this is the proper index for that. Bing. Let's put the logic down in comments. Alright, actually that's on create. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an instance. We're gonna create it on layer. Position is going to be X, comma Y. Alright, here's where we're gonna have fun, Josh. In Unity, these items here, what I'm referring to. Oh, jeez, I think I just broke my chair. Nope, didn't. Thank God. All right, these the X and Y here. Remember the game object.transform.position. Whew, that's a long thing to say. So X and Y, same thing. That is transform.position.x, transform.position.y. That makes life easier. The layer I'm going to send it on to is the gameplay layer, because that's where the player is. Oh, and it's a string, so enjoy. And what object am I doing? Current weapon. And that should theoretically do it. Alright, that's as simple as we're going to do right now. Then on the draw step, we should be able to do this redraw from when we hand off the weapon anyway. So with the other one, I use the same logic here, which is destroy current weapon instance, change object index to weapon given by player, and create instance of weapon given by player. Now this is actually kind of this is like kind of like what we're doing with the Unity, at least what I was doing with the code, is I was treating the weapon as a different object as the player, and so its code was supposed to act on its own, kind of. That way I didn't have any dependency on the player itself. I actually sort of accidentally, actually in retrospect I should have done it this way, I should say. What I had done before is everything's in the player does the attacks, etc. And so he's controlling his child weapon. In this one, it's helped me think through the logic better, so that treat the weapon object itself, when it fires off, it does its own logic. It would be like when you do a sword swing, you create the visual instance of the sword, it goes through its movement, and if it hits something, it deals damage to it. So alright, I don't want to just destroy it. Instance destroy. Okay. Yep, I'm using instance destroy. Cool. ID.
Leave the app, not your music.
Oh, jeez.
Listen
So do I
anywhere,
even have?
anytime. Listen to it all ad-free. All your music,
That's
no
an easy one.
interruptions. YouTube Red.
Just the whole
Start your free
thing.
trial.
I'm gonna have to rethink my logic here. Actually, oh, this song's good. Enjoy the song while I think my logic through. There. That makes that reference so much simpler. Now this other... Alright, you take care, Josh, alright? I'm gonna finish this up a little bit. I think I'm gonna be done myself, too. I have been on here for like an hour. Which, time flies when you're having fun. You take care. If you can make it next week, I'm gonna try to do it 1 o'clock again, alright? But look into, I mean, you probably, what, I don't know if you're using GameMaker, but we were talking about it a little bit more. Yeah, just pop in next week, alright? Take care, Josh. Alright, this other, just to confuse everybody, is referring to the player itself. Because it's confusing. Other. It's okay, Moose. You can sit down. I'll take you out in a minute. That's my dog, Moose. We call him Moose because he is a Newfoundland Golden Retriever mix, so a smaller Newfoundland. Alright. If I actually do... Actually, do I need that current weapon in, other than the index? I don't think so. I mean, seriously, I don't need it at all. Except for I do. I know I can do this in C#, but can I legit do this here? Let's look at the instances. Cool. The instance ID values, I'll need that anyway. Alright, let's finish this up. So, should be able to, here it is. Oop, that's not how it works. So we're going to create an instance. Right over here. Instances gameplay. Using current weapon index. That should work. Unless we completely bullet the syntax, which would be alright. Let's test this out. Error. Line 10 of the player collision. Oh, step. Night player. Hold on, I gotta see what that error was again. Yes, yes, I see. Actually, I don't. I haven't looked at it yet. Hit me with the error. Alright. Okay. Line 10. Okay, current weapon index. What is... Alright, hold on. Eat your banana, McKenna. Let's see, what could be causing that current weapon index? index is, I guess let's find value, which works. Oh, I'm a derp. Okay, folks. That knight sitting there is not instanced in, so there's no create code run. I'm gonna have to add some spawn code for the room to fix that. But we got this nice base code in here, which is cool. Thanks to Josh for popping in the stream and discussing, and we'll see you guys next week. Alright?